You and your knowledge, oh.
Yes, oh God, yes, we are back, we're here. This is It Still Good? This is Bear Kennedy coming at you from Chicago, and joining me as always is...
Andrew Carter from Los Angeles. It is a overcast day here in Silver Lake, on the east side of LA. Not that anybody asked, but I like to give weather reports, I guess.
It's hot as fuck here in the Windy City. I've got 87, feels like 97 out.
Ooh. I gotta be honest, I miss the humidity. I grew up in Connecticut, and it's never... The reason I miss the humidity is because of the excitement it brings in the air with the weather. There's thunderstorms. It feels like something's happening. It feels like something's coming. Out here, there's none of that. There's really nothing like that.
Yeah, don't sleep on how barometric pressure can affect your excitability. I think it's important for the listeners to know.
It is. It is important. It's the difference between a boring life and a boring life with some excitement sometimes.
Well, good stuff. This is It Still Good? This is the show with a couple of grown-up film students who hate growing up, taking a look back upon things from our younger, more bright-eyed years, looking at those things with a set of eyeballs that has been in the Nakatomi Plaza for just hours longer than that holiday party originally was supposed to last. And with that pair of eyes that we gather from the ashes of the ground floor explosions, we look upon these things and decide, is it still good? Or was this just the flowery experience of youth? So today, you all have the pleasure of looking at two grown men just looking like shit. What are we doing today?
If you're watching us on YouTube, you will see us in our pajamas. Today we are doing Pajama Day, which basically, it depends on how you remember Pajama Day. Some people remember it as getting to wear their pajamas to school. Other people remember it as just being a kid and being in your pajamas all day. I remember both, personally. And so today, Bear and I are discussing what it's like to have Pajama Day as adults. And
yes,
it's a little apropos because of quarantine, since everybody's working from home. But with certain things that are reopening or have been reopening at the moment and getting to go out, we did explore what it felt like to go outside with them and have some interactions. So my first question to you, Bear, is when did you participate in Pajama Day? When was your Pajama Day?
This was a couple weeks ago, right before it got unbearably warm here. I'm wearing what isn't a traditional, matching set of pajamas. I've got this kind of long sleeve, long underwear, kind of like sweater type thing that is almost passable as its own piece of fashion, and then on the bottom, I've got the Adidas track pants, the T-Rose, that my girlfriend hates. And these are quite warm. So I think it was like maybe high 60s out, and I needed to go to the bike store, which is just like 2 blocks from my house. And so I put on some slip-on Vans and wore this out, and immediately got just incredibly hot, just so unbelievably warm.
Yeah.
So that wasn't great for the temperature. I felt as if people were looking at me, a little weird, and that probably had more to do with the ambient temperature than how I looked. I think I can pull this look off.
Yeah, you're a big guy. Big guy wears comfy clothes.
Yes, thank you for making that.
They might be like, oh, that's all that fits him. Like,
that man doesn't have choices.
Yeah, exactly.
But a hallmark of crazy people is that they will, often look like they're completely inappropriately dressed for the temperature. So I was wary of that when it was hot out, that I was very much in warm clothes, and I have this big kind of unruly beard from the quarantine too, and might have been giving off a homeless vibe all day.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't think it was I wasn't like unshowered. So hopefully people saw comfort more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my
like
my
you weren't
hope.
unhappy wearing them. They weren't like, oh, sad. They were just like, what's that?
Yeah, I don't think I looked unhappy or too happy, which could have gone that way as well. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that guy's too. He's smiling for no reason. That's let's keep our distance.
yeah.
But I felt more self-conscious than normal about how I was when I was out and about. I went to like the drugstore, I think the grocery store too, and I was thinking about it a lot. And normally I don't get dressed up to do these kind of things, but I don't look this bad. So
right.
I did.
So were you worried? Like,
think about it.
What was your fear then? Like, obviously, like you're more self-conscious. What was your greatest fear?
I don't know. That's a great question because, like, realistically, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, I already have a girlfriend, so it's not like I'm really looking for good-looking women when I'm out and about,
right?
And like worried that they're going to be like, "Wow, that guy doesn't fucking try anymore."
Right.
I don't know. I think maybe I just didn't want to get that look from other people where they're kind of giving you the that's how you go out type thing. Like it's almost like everyone becomes your parent at a certain point.
That's a great
worried
way
that they're going
to
to be like, oh Christ, like, guy, think twice about it.
Yeah. And you have to like explain to them, like, listen, I'm just doing this for a thing. Like,
yeah, and I know that's in my own mind. Like, no one really cares that much, but I did feel this was similar to our McDonald's experience where I felt as if I was going to have to give an excuse for this behavior. Right. But ultimately, no one gives a fuck. But I felt as if I was going to have to say, like, I'm only in my pajamas for entertainment, for a nostalgia show that I do with my buddy. Like, this isn't my normal. This isn't me all the time.
Yeah, this is not who I am. Yeah.
This isn't. This isn't a representation of myself.
Well, let me ask you, in terms of pajamas as a kid, what are your memories of pajama day, and do you have anything specific that stands out in your mind?
You and I were talking about this a bit because I don't own like a pajama set anymore. But I knew at one point that I had gotten flannel pants.
Okay.
Because I knew in middle school I had some flannel pants because that was for a pajama day specifically. But I couldn't find them. Not that they would fit probably very well, but I knew I had those about, probably around age 12 or so. That was probably the latest I had like physical pajamas in my repertoire. As a kid, I know I've seen pictures of me in like the, just weird. I think I had like submarines or something on my pajamas. I think maybe my parents were setting me up for a career in the Navy. But you have like themed pajamas.
Oh yeah.
And I know I didn't have like Power Rangers or anything like that, but I know I had like some colorful stuff that had like pants that went with the top. Yes. Yeah. They were a set, and after bath time, it was a transition into pajama time. Yeah. But now, I mean, I think I'm pretty sure I stole this shirt from my father's closet probably about 10 years or so ago. That goes with the long underwear bottoms. But you look weird wearing just long underwear out. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that is definitely a bold choice.
Talk me through your ensemble. What do we have here today?
So for those that can't see, I'm wearing a matching set of Christmas pajamas. There are little Christmas gnomes on them. Top and pants. They are adult PJs. The brand is Hannah Anderson. I got them as a gift in Christmas I got them as a gift at Christmas 2018. So they're fucking recent. And I got them as a gift for my sister and her husband, and they were like, "Oh, we love these. We think you will too." And they got one for me and for my wife Zoe.
Do they have kids? Like, what was the genesis?
They have a kid now, but they didn't. Okay. I think they were just like, there's a trendiness to it, I guess, of like, oh, adult PJs. Yeah, we can do that for the holidays specifically. For Christmas morning. I mean, these are very like exclusively Christmas.
Yeah, there's no mistaking that for like a normal time.
No,
like
No, not at all.
You may run into the same thing I am, where people are going to be like, does that guy know it's not Christmas?
Yeah, so that's okay. So that leads me to like what my experience was like. So my wife and I live in a complex here in LA, and there's a little front yard in front of our unit for like all the people in the units to come and play with their kids, walk their dogs, or just hang out. And I stepped outside to take our dog out for the bathroom, and one of my neighbors was there with her two sons, 3 and 1 year olds. And they were in pajamas too, and so was I. And she was like, "Oh, hi!" And I literally had to do the whole, like, "Oh no, I'm doing this because my friend and I have a podcast, and we're reaching back into our youth." And
you gave her the premise.
I gave her the premise. Yeah, I gave her the pitch, and she was like, "Oh, that actually sounds pretty cool." So that was nice. But then her son, who's 3 years old, was like, sometimes I wear PJs all day. And I could tell that his mom was like, "Oh, damn it, now he's going to think it's okay." Like, now he's going to think, like, that's what I want to, that's what he's going to want to do all day because he sees, big kids.
You've now normalized it for him.
Yeah, and I'm like, ah, shit. So then the next day I was taking my dog out, and they walked by, and he was in the same pajamas, and I was in different clothes, and I was like, "Hey, you still got your pajamas?" And his mom was like, "Yeah, see, Andrew changed. Like, maybe you can too." And I was like, "Oh no!" Like, I was like, "Oh, I influenced this kid," but he's a very sweet, precocious little guy. But like, the other strange thing was like, so I took Bill on some walks, and the big thing I noticed, though, is that here in LA, people can wear whatever they want, and they don't get, not only do they not get a second look, they get, what I learned is you get compliments. I got complimented on this ensemble. Not like, "I like your pajamas," like, "I like your outfit." I was waiting to, we ordered a pizza. This was last Tuesday night. We ordered a pizza, and I went to go pick it up. And I was waiting to get it, and a woman who was waiting to pick up hers, as I was leaving with mine, was like, I like your outfit. It's really cool." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And like, just kept going. And then I realized, like, it's LA. Like, people can wear whatever they want, and like, it's like, but make it fashion. So I guess I made this look like a jumpsuit or something. I don't know, like an adult onesie, but clothes. I don't know how it can't look like pajamas, but I guess But I guess from a distance you can sort of see, like, okay, you might see someone, and I think it's different because I agree with you, like, in most parts of the country, probably in the world, you might get a look of like, "Oh, what's wrong with that person?" But in LA, it's like, what, and probably in New York too, it's like, what are they thinking? What's going on behind that outfit? What are they going through, but like what, what are they doing? Like, what are they planning with their lives? Like, what's going on in their head? Ooh. And it's like, it's weird because I went out at first feeling self-conscious, but after I got that compliment, I was kind of like, like people notice me, which was like ridiculous, but ultimately I definitely, it brought up these things of like, it's a weird thing being in pajamas as an adult, because there is an overwhelming and inherent sense of kind of feeling like a nobody in them, and feeling like you don't have much of a purpose when you wear them. I know it sounds dark, but it's true. Like, I don't know. I definitely was feeling that through the day, but also, and I think this is, in the interest of full disclosure, we're being honest on this podcast, I do struggle with a little bit of depression from time to time, and I recently had a bout with it, and wearing the pajamas it definitely didn't help, because it just made it seem like it kind of perpetuated that feeling of hopelessness and despair. And the thing with depression that I think a lot of people don't know is that it's not like you're sitting around crying all day, but it's this feeling of like, it's hard to get out of bed, and hard to do anything, and especially in pajamas, it kind of just makes it harder. You know?
So would you have worn the pajamas had we not been doing this show?
That's a great question.
Because I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's a weird confluence that you were feeling that way and we were specifically wearing pajamas.
Right, it is. I completely agree with you. The short answer is no. But when I say no, I mean these specific pajamas. And the reason these specific pajamas...
You would have gone with Easter. Because of the
yeah, I would have. But like these specific pajamas, first of all, they're warm and it's June. So it just doesn't really make a ton of sense. But I probably would have worn... Yeah, like, you know, I probably wouldn't have showered and, you know, put on a hat like I have now. And because when my hair gets long, if I don't shower, I just put a hat under it because it's easier. And would have worn just like a shirt, maybe like a pair of Adidas pants like you or something. So essentially, I guess you could technically call those pajamas, but like that's a really interesting question because it brings up this feeling of like, okay, if you're depressed, are you just going to wear the same thing every day? Are you just not going to even like, you know, are you not going to even like, you know, make an attempt to like, you know, put on clothes or just to get out of bed? And I think what happens sometimes, at least for me, and I you know, I'm sure other people can speak to this. And just to be clear, I definitely have my struggles, but I'm not anywhere. Some people have it way, way worse, and my heart goes out to them. But I think that I've been in the place where it's really tough to, you know, do stuff and get out of bed and bring yourself to do stuff because you just feel like a fraud. Like you feel like this is something that a normal happy person does, and that's not me right now. So why am I doing it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that the pajamas? Now I'm caught in between pronunciations because I swear to Christ I've always said pajamas my whole life, but I'm hearing you say pajamas. Now I've done.
I know. I think it's my mom.
I don't know how to commit
because my mom was born in England, and so she says like tomato and all. She still says potato, but like. And by the way, really quick side note. Speaking of England, you mentioned you had like little matching pajama sets as a kid. Like,
oh yeah,
dude. When I was I had them as a kid too. I remember my mom actually just recently took out some pictures of me and my old friend Brandon Cannon. Shout out to Brandon if you're listening, who just became a father. Congratulations to him.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah. He and I had a sleepover when we were probably like, I don't know, 7 or 8, and we were in matching flannel pajamas, and she found these pictures. It was like some photo shoot we did.
Awesome.
As like,
That's
and
so
we were just,
awesome.
you know, we were like presenting stuff. We looked like we were
yeah.
on like, you know, Home Shopping Network presenting things. But I remember going to London, and there was a department store there called Marks and Spencer, which is the best. They have clothes, they have food, it's a great place. And I remember specifically not only getting sets of matching pajamas for Christmas for like a year or two in a row. You're going to love this. One of the sets was the Lost World themed pajamas. Like a glow-in-the-dark velociraptor.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
That's amazing.
It was amazing.
Did they have... Were there different characters that they pulled from the film, or was it just kind of one thing? Because... If you had like Jeff Goldblum pajamas from that movie,
that would have been insane.
Holy shit! Or even
go ahead.
Like the Velociraptors were a big part of that movie, but remember they had the small guys too.
Oh yeah, the compies
that kill Peter Stormare.
Yeah, the compies. Oh, I love that you know Peter Stormare's name. He's the best. He's in so much. He's such a great underrated character actor. I love him in Minority Report.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he's incredible.
And if you don't know who Peter Stormare is, he's the bad guy from Fargo. He's the guy who puts Buscemi through the wood chipper.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Fargo.
He's in so much. He is extremely recognizable.
Peter Stormare is a legend.
He's incredible.
In that movie, and he gets killed. And Pete Postlethwaite's in The Lost World as well. And he probably has... I'd say he's the best character in the entire run of the Jurassic Park franchise.
Yeah.
It was Roland Tembo. I fucking love that guy.
It's a great
name, awesome in
too.
that movie. It's very strong. And he gets all the best lines. And I wish he was still alive to do side characters.
Yeah, he's amazing.
As they're kind of reviving that whole franchise.
Yeah, he's the best. I guarantee you, if he was still alive, they would have brought him back for Jurassic World 3. Because they brought back everyone else. Goldblum, Sam Neill, Laura Dern. They brought back B.D. Wong for Jurassic World.
Yeah, that's a weird pull. Yeah. Little Pete Postlethwaite would have been He's great. A great comeback.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's so good in that movie. Yeah. Cancel that order. Yeah, it's amazing. But what was I gonna say?
Let's get this movable feast underway.
Yeah, what a line. So I had those pajamas and they were awesome. To answer your question, I don't know if they had Goldblum on pajamas. I think it was just dinosaurs because they probably figured the kids like I just want the dinosaurs. But I probably would have been Jeff Goldblum, he was one of my favorite actors as a kid.
Goldblum
because of those
fucking
movies.
Awesome. Yeah, of course.
I met him once. I met him out here in LA. He does jazz at the
Yes.
Yeah, at the Rockwell, which is a stage bar and grill like here in Los Feliz. And he 2 years ago, right before Jurassic World 2 came out, Zoe and I went to see him. And he was like talking to us, and he was like, "Oh, hello, huh? Ah, yes, hi. Oh, yes, how's everybody doing? Oh, good. Yes, we are going to play some jazz, yeah." And then he started like referencing movies, like old, like obscure movies that I happened to have heard of. And he was like, there was a moment when he was up on stage, and he was like, "Oh, I feel like Mickey 1. Has anyone here heard of Mickey 1?" And I have. It's Warren Beatty and Arthur Penn directed it, and he was like, and I raised my hand, and he was like, "Mickey 1? You do? You know that movie? Oh, wow, that's a deep cut." And then he started talking about like another thing of like, he was like talking, and then how he felt like a news anchor and was like, "Oh, I feel like a news anchor, and I played a news anchor. Does anyone know what movie I was in where I played a news anchor?" And I knew, and I was like, "Morning Glory." And he was like, "Yes, and who directed that?" And I was like, "Roger Michelle." And he was like, "And he also directed?" And I was like, "Notting Hill." And he was like, "Oh, you!" Like, and he was so weird. But like, all the women that were there, he like was like just so like tuned into them. He wasn't like inappropriate or creepy. He was just like, oh, like just a charming guy. Like, "Oh, hello, yes, hi," and then like. And after the show, everybody was going up to him, and I was like, I gotta say something to him. You know, it's like, I'm never gonna get to see this guy again. And so I went up to him, and he saw me, and I was like, and I was trying to be all like, "Hey, Mr. Goldblum," or whatever stupid shit. And he saw me, and he just goes, and he puts his hands on his heart, and he goes, oh, you and your knowledge, oh, you're so good, you." And then he like recognized the woman that like he had talked to earlier in the show, and was like, "Oh, there's Brigitte," and like just beelined over to her.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's exactly as I picture him.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like he comes off as creepy.
No.
I mean, you never know in this day and age, but he definitely comes off as that guy definitely fucks. Like Goldblum is like the poster child for this guy fucks.
Yeah. He's married. He has 2 kids. But,
really?
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe they have an open agreement. I don't know. But like, I don't want to.
He's always on the lookout for the next ex Mrs. Malcolm.
Well played.
You're welcome. Did you have the footy pajamas as a kid?
I did not have the footy pajamas. No, actually, of course I did when I was like 2, but I don't remember.
Yeah. I remember them into like the 5, 6 area.
All right.
Having the footies, because I remember they had like that, like the rubber sole on the bottom, so that you had some traction, I guess, for your dreams or some shit. I don't know, but I remember that was always kind of annoying.
Sliding around on the floors. Yeah.
What I don't remember is the butt flap. Like I don't remember having or ever using a butt flap.
I didn't have one.
With the amount of traffic that goes through my GI over the last 32 years, I think I would have remembered had I utilized the flap.
Yeah, I don't remember the flap either. I do remember the footy pajama. I remember when I was, spoiler alert, this is going to be a little gross. I remember when I was probably like 4, I think I like pooped a little bit in my like not I don't know if they were footy or if they were just like matching top and pants, but I like pooped a little bit, and it was like a little like tiny ball of poop, and I remember lifting my leg up and like it rolling down the leg like the cloth part, and
Just
like
shit
like
marble?
the elasticity was like it was very like taut and tight, so it like rolled down like pretty smoothly. And then I remember being like, "Mom," and like went to go get her, and then I fell down the stairs. I remember it was a rough morning. I shit my pants and fell down the stairs. It's true. I was 4 years old. It was bad.
What happened to you? Like, how did this resolve?
I think I just like got cleaned up and probably just went on about my day, and my parents were probably like, "Why the hell did we have another one?" Because I don't think my sister was nearly as difficult.
I don't have any memories of shitting my pajamas, unfortunately, but I do remember one time, like, because I wore tighty whities as a kid for a while, which I always hated. I just didn't know there was another option. I remember not wiping enough once and then getting an itchy ass at like age 5 or so, and then like being like, this sucks. Like, what's going on here? And then like looking back and seeing like a little skid mark and be like, ooh, that's not what you want.
It's not going to work for me. Yeah.
No, and that kind of set me on a path of being a very thorough wiper. But with the butt flap, like, if you use the butt flap, like, you have to like unflap it and then like stuff your dick out the flap, right? Like, you got to like maneuver dick downward.
I guess, I don't know.
To use that shit, right?
I think so. Like, if you're sitting down to pee or poo.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think the idea, even with a male child, is you don't really stand to pee right away.
No,
right? You sit to pee first.
You learn to potty train, right?
So you have to get your dick maneuvered.
Jesus.
To use that thing.
Yeah.
Seems like a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Do you have? I never had that.
Did you ever have a memory of wearing your pajamas to school? Did you ever have a quote unquote pajama day?
Yeah, I know for sure we did it like in elementary school, and I remember being like a fun thing. It's like the perfect shit for kids because it's basically a no effort deal that makes it like a special day.
It's great.
Yeah, so I remember doing that. I remember doing it, like I said, I think in like middle school, and then at some point I transitioned.
You had a pajama day in middle school?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah,
because sixth grade.
I think 6th or 7th.
Wow, 7th grade.
Yeah.
Damn.
I know.
They do not want
that
you to grow
does seem a little
up.
late for that.
It does seem. I mean, like 7th grade, you're like 13.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Like, you could be like hitting puberty then.
Oh, for me, I was a full-grown man at that point. Already.
When did you have your growth spurt?
I haven't grown since I was 11 years old.
Wow, you had it that early?
I was 6'3" at 11 years old.
Oh my God, are you serious?
A lot of times what I'll tell people is, especially if they're a little older than me, I'll be like, imagine you have an 11-year-old child and it's me.
Like me now.
It's you're looking at your kid and it's a full-grown man.
Dude, I was such a late bloomer. I didn't grow or voice change. I was 16. That's
crazy to me.
I had a growth hormone deficiency.
Well, I was gonna say everyone's different, and then
and then I said that. Yeah. Well, everyone has that. No, I remember I had to get tested for it. I had to take growth hormone shots for 5 years. Like all through boarding school. I went to boarding school. All through boarding school, I had to take a shot, and I always lied. I was like, "That's why it's allergy shots. It's so I don't get allergies." Like
that was a good cover story.
I thought it was a good cover, but looking back, like I don't really regret lying about it because it's like I don't want to have to explain that to a fucking 15,
it's not
16.
going to go over well with kids.
They're just not going to get it, but that was always tough for like sleepovers as a kid, being like, oh, I have to remember to do that, to take the shot before I go because I can't like bring it. No, it's like because you have to keep it refrigerated, and like if you forget, then it's a whole thing. Or if you bring it, you put it in their fridge and like sneak it, and like they walk in on you, like giving you fucking injection
with the belt.
Yeah, right. It's like they're like, what is going on? Yeah, but like. No, it was definitely an interesting time. But
well, I'll give you. I've probably told you this story, but I had the hard opposite experience as a child.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So when I was like 9 years old, I don't remember what happened, but I ended up somehow it became known in my medical chart that the bone density I had as a 9-year-old was like that of like an 18-year-old child.
Oh,
and
wow.
so they were like, this looks bad. Like, you're clearly a little ahead of the curve on puberty and stuff here, but like this could be a major issue. So
right.
I ended up I was living in Michigan at the time, and I ended up going to like the University of Michigan, whatever their hospital is.
Yeah.
And getting a ton of tests done for like multiple weeks.
Jesus.
Like, it became like a regular deal, like getting blood drawn, CT scans, bone density scans, all this shit. Because they thought, like, okay, you're 9 and yet you're a grown man. So like there's probably some kind of hormone imbalance, or at worst, like a tumor on your pituitary gland that's going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
And both of my parents are very small. My mom's 5'2" and my dad's 5'10", and I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
So like I don't look like their kid at all, which is kind of a lifelong joke. But anyway, so I go through all this shit, and like, it's not that fun to have to do a bunch of tests as a kid. Plus, I already like certainly felt different because all of my friends were normal child size.
Right.
So get through all that shit. They call my parents in. They call them in front of like a panel of doctors, like a fucking boardroom of white coat nerds. And they're like, Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy, like, have a seat. We're going to go over the results of the test. And my parents are like, well, our kid's just going to get, this is bad. He's going to be a fucking bubble boy. This is terrible. So they're like bracing for the worst. And they sit down, and the doctor tells them, we have to tell you, you've got a big kid. That's it. That was the final conclusion. Yeah, that was it. That literally was it. So like, I don't know how much that cost them to like get all that shit done. That must have been a hopefully it wasn't a high deductible year.
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, Jesus, anybody could fucking see that with eyes.
Yeah, there's no way that was cheap, but apparently everything was fine, and I'm just a large person.
Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy, you've got a big kid.
You've got a big kid.
That's incredible.
Yeah, ridiculous. So to just pull this all the way around, I haven't grown since I was 11 years old. I started shaving when I was 9. Wow. I don't look that different now than I did as a teenager. I've kind of just looked the same. I don't remember growing. I don't remember my voice changing. I don't remember like the first pube I ever got. Like, it all happened so early. I don't remember life without it, which is different from you. And when we moved, because we moved a couple times when I was a kid, people thought I was held back. They thought I was like 18 but had like mental problems because I was so large, but I was in like the 4th grade.
Right.
And my parents used to keep my birth certificate on them all the time because people would ask questions, like, here, he's just huge.
Wow.
Or like we'd go like skiing or to a restaurant, and they're like, yeah, this giant man can't order off the kids meal, and he was like, he's 11 years old. Like, here, look at his shit.
Wow.
So that was my life growing up as a circus sideshow. So
circus sideshow. That's so obnoxious. Yeah. People would be like, no, like, people are so fucking nosy.
Well, people think you're trying to get away with something.
Yeah, like, that's what it is. They think you're trying to get away with something.
We can't charge you kid prices for this clearly 25-year-old person you brought with you. Like,
yeah, right.
He's 12. Yeah.
It's so obnoxious. That's amazing.
But, yeah, that was weird.
That was a nice tangent into our... how we grew up, but it all kind of relates to wearing pajamas, because I don't know about you, but as an adult I don't wear pajamas. I sleep with boxers on. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. I know I transitioned to boxers and a t-shirt for a long time.
Yeah, I think I've done that before. And
I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I sleep in my socks and always have.
Wow.
And have a really hard time if I don't have socks trying to sleep.
Okay.
So I've gone through a lot of different sleepwear. I've landed on no shirt, just boxers and socks. But I've gone through naked sleeping phases as well, in which case I do keep my socks on, but everything else is off.
Wow. Don't your feet get hot?
No, never. I know. We were talking earlier. You've had some history with feeling a little anxious and depression. I know. I've got a strong history of like the non-funny OCD, and I think it's an OCD thing.
Yeah.
And I cannot get over it. The only time I'm barefoot is in the shower. That's it.
Wow.
I don't know. I cannot explain.
No, dude, I get that.
I have a serious problem with not having socks on.
Yeah. No, I struggle with OCD too. My sister has OCD, and so we both kind of, and we both developed it late in our 20s, and her like probably earlier than me. I didn't really start thinking about it until like a couple of years, like only a few years ago, maybe like 28 or 29. But yeah, no, it's a real thing. Like I can't go to bed until I've like peed like a few times, like, and I'm like, okay, my bladder is empty, I'm good, and like even if there's like a little hint, I'll go to the bathroom and it's like a tiny little drip, and I'm like, I didn't need to even go. This is ridiculous. It's like, it's definitely an OCD.
Yeah, well, people throw around things like, especially with depression and OCD, people just throw that out into conversation in like a flippant way sometimes. I don't think people are meaning to be mean about it.
No.
It gets used in a way that isn't serious.
Yeah, I resent it a little bit.
Because when you have problems that you try to address and you work through, you hear someone say like, "Oh, I was so depressed last week." It's like, you weren't really depressed. You were just a little bummed out.
Yeah.
Or like, "Oh, I'm so OCD. Like all my pens are in the same place." It's like, yeah, I've never lost my wallet because it's like a thing I focus on. So like it's a little different. Yeah.
Dude, I have ADD as well, and when I was working at a restaurant once, I was like not like that wasn't doing that great of a job. It was the first restaurant job I ever had actually, and they were awful people. And the restaurant's closed. It closed like
good, drag them.
A year or two ago. Yeah, they fuck them. They're awful people. And if they're listening, they know who they are. But so it was my first restaurant job, and like I forget what happened, but like it was just a lot of information to remember at once, and it was like, it's like they didn't, and it wasn't a big restaurant. It was a very small restaurant, and like when you were on staff as a waiter, it was just you and the chef. That was it. And so like even if the restaurant was full, which is like up to like 20 seats, like that's all on you. And the chef who's cooking, and he didn't have a sous chef either. It was just him. And I remember, like, they were like, like, what's going on? Like, what is so hard for you to remember certain things? And I was like, well, look, to be honest with you, I have ADD, and sometimes it's, it takes me a little while to, like, get something and pay attention or whatever. And they were like, oh, okay, whatever. And then, like, I forget, I don't know how many times, I'm sure they did it more than once, but I remember one specific time they, like, used that against me and was like, they were, like, teaching me something, and I kind of spaced out for a second, but then came back and they were like, okay, did you get it? And the woman was like, okay, come on, ADD boy. And it took everything I had not to be like, go fuck yourself. Like, and I'm surprised I didn't, because I think now I would. But like, that was the worst job I ever had. That was horrible. But like, yeah, I mean, to your point of like people throwing things around, and I'm glad it's like we're coming back to like the mental illness and mental health discussion. It's like, I think the reason we're relating it to pajamas is like what we said earlier, which is like, there is a certain thing about like being in your pajamas all day where you can equate that with being depressed or down or anxious. It's
essentially, if you're out in public in pajamas, that is essentially the uniform of depression.
Yes, yeah, people can look at you.
But yeah, the question for me is, does the depression cause you to wear the pajamas, or do you put on the pajamas and step into a space of depressing mindset?
I think it can be both. I think if you're really feeling down, you can just be like, fuck it, I'll put this on. But I also think that if you're, it's like, how sometimes people say like, like give yourself permission to feel, to cry, to this, to that. Like, I think that can also be a part of it where you're like, I'm gonna give myself permission to be sad today, and so I'm gonna put this on, and it might you know,
You might be able to work it out.
might enhance that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, like, it's funny. I am a very sensitive guy, but I'm also not very easily offended. I think it takes a lot for me to get offended. But one thing I get very offended by is when people call ADD and dyslexia a learning disability. Because that was a stigma back when I went to boarding school for that. Like, I went to a school called Foreman, which specialized in teaching kids with ADD and dyslexia and other learning differences. And so when people call it a learning disability, I'm just kind of like, or just when they say learning disability, like for a joke or for a laugh or something, I'm kind of like, fuck you. You don't know what it's like. And you can feel invisible with those things. And same with, you know, with depression and anxiety and stuff. It's like, people like to, for lack of a better word, like demean them or lessen them. And I think people do that because they don't necessarily want to admit that they're real, and they don't want to admit that people really struggle. Maybe it's to help them. Maybe it's like, you know, them trying to be like, no, everybody's fine. I don't want to go there. But I don't know, man. Like, mental health and mental illness is a very real thing, and it should be talked about. And again, I think we're in an age where it is definitely a lot more. Like, there is there's not even close to the stigma that there was even 5 years ago, let alone, you know, 20, 15 years ago or something.
Yeah. Well, I never really thought of it as being kind of a almost foreign word, but I guess pajamas have their origin in India and made their way into Western culture because of the British colonization of India. And so that was kind of the first place where Western Europeans encountered sleepwear of a silky nature.
Wow.
And the word pajamas, which, I mean, you know from when you're a kid, because it's just, I'm in my pajamas. If you really look at it, like, it is kind of like a non-standard English word, and it is derived directly from an Indian word.
Right.
I'm not looking at it, but it's similar to spelling and sound-wise to pajamas. And that's kind of where it came from. So,
wow.
Interesting. Interesting to think that was a huge, you know, just accepted part of life in India, and Europeans didn't really know about it until they showed up and declared that they owned everything there, which sucks. But pajamas are kind of just ubiquitous when you're a kid. It's just I'm in my pajamas. Go to bed, wake up, eat breakfast, have your parents yell at you to put on some real clothes, and that's what it's like.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you don't want to get out of your pajamas.
Yeah. I never thought of pajamas as like a cultural thing that we'd kind of appropriated, which is interesting.
Clearly it was.
So there's your history of pajamas. I couldn't find anything specifically about the butt flap, which clearly I'm fixated on. But
yeah, you are obsessed with that. You have some. I feel like you did have a butt flap, and you had a bad experience that maybe you've blocked out. But you're constantly like, what, this fucking butt flap, I didn't do it. Did you? No, I didn't. And then, like, if someone were to be like, no, I did it, and then, like, you'll be like looking off in the distance. Yeah, I know, I did too.
Yeah.
And then you'll like reveal what happened.
Pivotal butt flap trauma at an early age.
Exactly. So, as we wrap up here, what did you think about wearing pajamas? What, like, was it still good for you?
Yeah, it was fine. You know, this kind of uniform is okay. I didn't even attempt to sleep in these fucking things because I run so hot when I sleep.
Right.
So as far as like wearing them to bed, yeah, pajamas not still good. Wearing them out, it's fine. Depending on what you quantify as pajamas, like I wear a lot of gym shorts and bad t-shirts. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't necessarily say that's pajamas, but you know, those are not going out clothes.
Yeah.
So I think you start to get different striations in your wardrobe. You know, what do you wear to sleep? What's your house clothes? What's your going out clothes? And I think to me, pajamas don't really fit in there anywhere. And for those reasons, I'm going to have to say it is not still good. How about you?
I agree with you. I don't think it's still good. The reason I don't think they're still good as an adult is just, at least for me personally, like I felt fucking worthless in them. And again, you know, battling you know, something like depressive feelings and stuff like that. That definitely doesn't help, but like, I don't know, you just feel less responsible in them. You feel, and not in a good way, not in a way of like, I'm relaxed and free. You feel like I'm a deadbeat, and
like you've given up.
Yeah, you feel like you've given up a little bit. At least that's how I felt. And as a kid, when we were in elementary school, like kids that were running for class president would like use that as part of their policy to get votes. Like, I promise we will have one pajama day, you know, every semester or whatever. And like kids, I remember voting for a girl because she said that. I was like, I want to wear my pajamas to school. Who the hell wouldn't? That's the best.
Effective campaigning.
It's a very effective campaigning. Like, and I remember being like, this is awesome. But as a kid, or as an adult, it's just not the same thing. It's funny. As a kid, you feel free, and as an adult, you feel constricted. You know, at least that's how I felt. So my vote is definitely no, not still good. 2 no's.
Pajamas not good. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that.
Me too.
Yes. So, you can visit us on our website, stillgoodshow.com. We are on the social medias.
Yes, Instagram, @stillgoodshow. You can check us out there for clips and, you know, a link to our website and stuff like that, and for upcoming episodes. If you want to give us an idea for an episode, or if you tried pajamas yourself and want to let us know what you think, shoot us an email, stillgoodshow@gmail.com. You can also message us on Instagram or on our Facebook page, Still Good Show. Bear, what are we going to be doing next time?
We'll be back next time. We're going to dive into the twisted mind of R.L. Reginald Lewis Stein. I don't know what the RL stands for. I forget, but we'll figure that out. I was going to say,
if it's Reginald Lewis, well done.
If I called that out of nowhere, that's fucking crazy. But we're going to look at Goosebumps. We're going to read a Choose Your Own Adventure, and I promise I will only read the adventure that I choose.
Yeah, we're going to each choose a different one.
Yeah,
from the same book, and then we're going to discuss what our adventures were and how we feel about Goosebumps. So definitely tune in for that. Hope everybody stays safe out there and stays healthy. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.